Živiu. Hey, Živiu. My name is Heikki Rajasalo, and you can find my professional profile in LinkedIn. If you wish to connect me or my network, please do that. I reply yes to every request. Okay, I'm here to speak with you about design creating economical benefits and what kind of benefits they create, and can they be calculated beforehand and afterwards. How many of you are designers? Majority. How many of you are still students? How many of you is working in design field? Okay. How many gets paid? How many professors, lecturers, or teachers? Good. Any students of business sciences? Any students of engineering? Few. Okay. And other human sciences? A few. Did I miss anything? Architecture. Sorry? Okay, should we mention all? I welcome you all. So, this is a picture of a design agency called Ideal. It's a Finnish company located in the States, but also in Helsinki. And I think they have visualized the new sort of value creation demand that design has quite well. So we have needs that people have, and could that knowledge be increased as new products and services? Could we use information in creating new things? The trend seems to be the way that business needs more certainty. And while design is a field of ambiguity and uncertainty, we have to fit these disciplines together somehow. And I'm willing to question whether design can be measured with numbers. Business management is using software how to measure and control business development. They calculate the areas which increase and which decrease, and therefore they can be able to point out that what are the points that seem to be like key performance elements for us. And by doing that, they are able to put that data into business scorecards and get out of results that what one certain investment pulls out as a new benefit. So can we put design in such matrix? If we think about design as a profit creator or a value creator, there's a challenge because the profit of design is traditionally seen as a quality. Something gets better. In product design, a handle gets better, the usability gets better, or the readability gets better, or the new product or service attracts more people. But how to calculate profit? in a sort of quantitative way. Design ROI is a joint study of Aalto University, Technology Funding Foundation of Finland, Finnish Design Business Association, and Design Forum Finland. And their aim was to gather information from academic research that is there already in the academic research findings of how design has been able to point out of or underline the fact that we get economical profit by using design. And there were. And quite interestingly, some of the research findings are dated like 10 years ago. So we have been able to gather information for a decade, but not been able to use that information in practice. So in this sense, the Danish Design Council's finding that design is able to create 22% higher turnover growth. So more products are being sold, or the added value of one product is higher than even if we sell the same amount of products, we get more because the price is higher. On the other hand, Swedish Industrial Design Foundation found already a few years ago that design can help companies to increase productivity, in this sense 50%. Or even British Design Council stated that the share price is getting higher. So quite powerful numbers when comparing companies which do not invest in design towards the companies that do invest in design and do that continuously. So with this result, we are able to say that yes, design is able to create social and economical value. A social value can be seen in environment, in a society, and economical value can be seen in calculated in business. Yes, and the big companies enjoy that immaterial assets in their brand, but also in their share price, and it can be calculated and put and written down in the balance sheet. Would the companies, the smaller companies, enjoy the same? Could they use design the same way? Quite interestingly, the net revenue of the private companies is made in 51% of the SMEs in Finland. I'm not quite sure the situation in Slovenia at the moment, but I would say that in EU countries, the amount is approximately the same. 60. So even higher. But the smaller companies are actually building up this society. And interestingly, in Finland, the GMP is 40% of the GMP is produced in SMEs. Do you have the number of that? But it could be higher because the revenue is higher than in Finland. And then again, I would like to give you this news as a good possibility and an opportunity to your future, by building up new enterprises in Slovenia. You are able to change this society by creating new business. business owners have different perspective to design. Some of them see that design has features that can develop like the brand, the exterior, the aesthetics, and so on. This is a liner that I once received. A client of mine wanted to make his product an icon and asked me to help him. And I said, well, to make an icon maybe take more than 150 years, that we won't be here to see all the results. It's a long journey. So he lacked the information of the sort of truthful impact of brand design. Let's spend a few minutes in this ladder. This is called the design ladder. It's created by Danish Design Center. They found out that design is perceived in 4 different categories in business. In the lowest area, I'm sorry, is this visible, this text? So in the lowest area, or the lowest ladder, the design has no role whatsoever. So design is not seeing anything. It cannot create anything, it's a cost, it happens somewhere else. In the second step, design has one value, and it's aesthetics. Design is able to make products and services look better. And then again, if we think about aesthetics, it's, I think, something looks good, but you might think it doesn't look good, or you think it's awful. So in that sense, aesthetics is something like closer to opinion. And if we compare opinion to business or business benefit, or like the economical outcome of design, and we talk about opinions, who is to say that white works better than green, or soft surfaces is better than hard, if we talk about opinions? And quite often also designers stay in this second ladder. They only want to make work look better. But I recall that design has more values than just one. In third ladder, design is seen as a part of the process, as a part of the development process. Many mass production companies that produce cars or toothpaste or food, or I don't know, milk, anything, they can commercialize their products by using design in a certain stage of the development process. So they understand that designers and design process has something that adds to the process, to the development process. So there's something more than just aesthetics. In the highest ladder, design is approved as a part of strategy. So as if we think a strategy is a decision to capture something, an opportunity in the market, strategy is our map how to go there. And if we take design into strategy work, we actually speak about much higher or larger environments than just, for example, aesthetics. And for example, like in Marcos, the first speaker of today, the social the new social benefits that are created by design, and the wider perspective and view is underlining the same theme in that perspective. In this Design Roy research program, there's one interesting finding made by the Association for Finnish Work. In Finland, 47% of companies claim they profit without design. So it's like almost half say that we're doing just fine. And any product that doesn't have the emotional layer in the product is a commodity. And a commodity is in a price market. And if you are in a price market, you have to concentrate to costs to be able to create some kind of a profit. But if you are in a value market, you don't need to concentrate to cost that much because the customers are willing to pay the added value. So by developing your products and services by design, you're creating added value, and you can actually in some occasions even quit investing in product development that much. I know that Calvin might be looking at me right now. What is he talking about? I think this is even scarier. Almost 60% of the Finnish companies say they cannot see any benefits brought by design. But design means nothing to 60% of the companies. And having this fact, and having the knowledge that Finland has recovered quite well in the euro crisis, and the social economy is in good or rather good health at the moment. It's quite interesting that 60% of the companies don't use design. It means that approximately 60% of the companies are in the lowest ladder, the first step, not willing to take another step. It means that the rest, 40%, is actually building the society. So how come design is so powerful? Well, it's a process. We have been talking about process today, earlier too. And to me, it's not very complicated process. So first we think what we should do, then we do it, and then we put it in the market. I don't think it's quite complicated, but quite often we sort of eliminate the first part, and the clients think that they get design cheaper if they just buy the design part, and they do the rest by themselves. So the thinking part is missing here now. It's an open process, which means that it absorbs information while working. I think you have all met in your work in a situation where you have begun to work, you have worked for a few days, and then you get new information suddenly from somewhere. And this new information all changes. It might change like everything. So there's a dilemma of time in this waterfall process. And it's actually not that good. What more is that today the technological change seems to be very rapid. So we have a process, the waterfall process is not working in normal days, and today, when the technological change is even more rapid than in normal or before, in the old days, we have a process that is not matching. And the old methods won't get us in the place where we want to be with our new product. So the old laws don't sort of support us. Looks familiar to you, Marco? It's good to end something familiar. So in early days, design and designer is brought in when business managers were sure what needs to be done. And the designer was a producer of that need. And today, when technological features are new and the society changes, we need to have more thinking in the early phase of the process. Does it look familiar? I think. Okay. Putting these three disciplines together, I think it's originally from IDEO. What is interesting here that we actually can pinpoint where the specialty areas are, where we can specialize into what is sort of valuable knowledge. I encourage you all to specialize to something. Being a general designer of anything is not, well, it doesn't actually create new business for you, but being a specialist of one certain area is there's an opportunity to you for you to create new business. So interestingly, this era seemed to underline the area of new technologies and sort of leave out in the heart of the conversation, the human factors and the business factors. So we are concentrating only to technologies. I don't say this is wrong, but I only see that this is the trend right now. And why the all three needs to be taken apart is that the technological factors give us, or for the product, the reasons how to use the products. And the business factors are able to create the reasons why to buy, so to create like brand essence to the products. But the human factors, we need those in order to connect human to a machine, or a human to a service, or a human with a product. And therefore, human factors gives reasons for us all. If we produce products, services, gadgets, by only having the reasons to use them and reasons why to buy them, there's no connectivity. So it means that the value for the user is lost. On the other hand, design seems to be quite many things. When I was younger, I studied design, and I thought that design is a lot to do with visual design. And I thought myself that I am a designer only if I produce some kind of pictures. And today I consider myself as a designer. I rarely do any visualizations. I actually write more than draw. And I still think myself as a designer. But design is more than just a discipline of visualizations. Then again, we can see that design is transformed from a designer to a project. We can say that the project contains design, which means that a product contains design. So somehow not only the designer is connected to design, but also the product itself is design. Then it's a process, the working process. So it's many things, and depending on who you ask, the answer is always different. The project manager Helsinki was a design capital for 2 years ago, and the project manager of Design Capital project was interviewed right after the Design Capital was ended. And the main economical newspaper gave him the question that, well, how do you see design? And the project manager said that, well, I learned during the process that design is many things. So his perceptions of design was somewhat different in the beginning than what they were in the end. I would like to concentrate also a little bit to designer, in a sense that there still seem to be motivation where designers want to emphasize themselves, where design students and designers, they want to be stars, where actually the outcome of the design process should be the star, and the user should be taken in count. So moving from the subjective thinking to objective thinking in that sense. And traditionally, design has been seen as an approach that includes a lot of intuition. So it could mean something like it feels right. If you do some kind of a design or design a new dress or a product, nevertheless, if it's industrial product or a retail product or social service, whatever, if a designer is built the way that his or her only argument is that it feels right, maybe that's not enough. Maybe you need something more. And if we think about do I hear a question somewhere? So should a designer have something more arguments when dealing with business? In a recent research, this notion seemed to be verified. Designers seem to be incapable of making fiscal arguments. So in this sense, designers are unable to speak about the money value they bring. It's more in intuition. And this is one point where we speak about that designers do not meet business managers, and this is the reason. There seems to be a gray area between business and between designers still. Robert Bau is a Swedish academic researcher, and he speaks about touchpoint design trap, which is that if a designer is given a complicated task, he is unable to speak about it in strategic level and begins to draw solutions quite rapidly. And the younger the designer is, the more rapidly the designer moves to drawing a solution. Senior designers seem to remain a bit more in discussing about the requirements, but the junior designers move rapidly to creating solutions. In this research, it was pointed out that if the definition is done well and is sort of close to everyday problems, whether is it redesigning a package for a product or redesigning a visual identity for a company or redesigning a web page for a service or whatever, or redesigning a retail space for a magazine, that is easily done, and quite often the result is good quality. On the other hand, when the uncertainty and complexity comes into the picture, designers are unable to find vocabulary, how to speak about those things, and begin to, in this research finding, they seem to begin to do the solution quite rapidly. From my point of view, I think it could be so that designers actually draw to themselves, that they are not drawing the final solution, but sort of they are drawing more understanding, more insight, so to say. In that sense, these first drawings should not be regarded as solutions. Why is it so hard to do that? Well, it seems that if we define the business opportunity, it can be quite a strict package of what we can do. If we do a risk analysis in the market, we can quite easily define and quite strictly define what we can do, like according to laws, for example. But the solution is always different. So with the same requirements, with the same definition, you and you and you and you do an alternative solution. And that's actually a good thing. It's good that there's sort of humanity aspect to that, because it underlines that design cannot be automatized, and there is no ISO 9001 process to design, which enables to create always the same result, which means that in that sense our efforts are still needed. But from a business point of view, this creates uncertainty. And we as designers need to speak to business owners that this uncertainty is actually a good thing that we have. So we need to take the business owners by the hand and say to them, it's okay to be in uncertainty in this task point. Well, if design creates economical value, we need to manage the material property somehow. The process is actually quite simple. After understanding the market opportunities and making the strategy and creating the presence in a package or in a space, we invest in design and put the money what was left out aside to recreate the process again and again. And that is how wealth is generated. In brand point of view, we always have things that we cannot control, which is like the markets. But from a strategy point of view, there are things that we can control. And in design strategy, this is the area to work with. So if you are willing to increase your business opportunities in creating new products and services, you need to study the vocabulary of the design strategies, taking a step towards business, more understanding. Company profile and product branding are also strategic development processes that can be proceeded by design. So it is taking a step towards a real strategy enables us to be specialists in this area. And brand, as we know, is quite many things. Okay, so we had a point of view to design from business management point of view and from designer point of view, and we found out that there's a gray area in between. How could we sort of take that step? Well, that is to increase the amount of data, knowledge, and therefore insight, understanding in the process. And you can do it by doing things together. I take a flight from Helsinki to Ljubljana, and typically the service process goes like this. One orders the ticket, goes to the airport, leaves the luggage, and gets to the plane. Things get harder if you multiply the amount of users. So if like I took the taxi, I didn't, but if I took the taxi, someone else could have chosen the bus. And the third person his own vehicle. So in service, the possibility to choose makes the design process harder because you need to think all of the touch points, not just one brand, or how the emotions are transformed from the product to its user. And things get even harder because the paths can be chosen every day in different way. In that sense, let's take a short look at the process, how to co-create together with the audience. So in the early days, the manufacturer branded product and created new needs. So the creation was or the brand essence was created only afterwards, not beforehand. And today, it seems that we need to co-create with the audience. So you don't remain alone as a designer in your design studio, or don't just take the requirements that the business is given you. Go to the user and ask directly from them how to do things together. Like Sasha said in the beginning, it's no more us and them. It's doing together. I hope you begin to do together from now on. And I have a good news for Slovenia. I found this cultural type model. This is my last slide. I'm just finishing here. Slovenia is here. So there's linear active key elements that are sort of decision planners. The red one is multi-active, emotional, and the yellow one is compromiser. And Scandinavian countries seem to be here together with Canada. And Slovenia is here with Czech and with the US. So actually culturally, if regarding to this, culturally Slovenians are able to create emotional layer to products and services. So actually you have a tool, if you use design or creating new products and services, there's an audience that will receive that as a benefit, and therefore you are able to create flourishing business. I hope so. The right amount of right things in right time, reduction of all useless is so-called lean design, agile processes, doing together creates value, and be brave, just go on and do that. Thank you.